Beautiful, he whispered as he took it in. The space was like nothing he had ever seen before. It was clearly not designed by the same architects who made the mines above. Rather than classical pillars and colonnades, this place resembled honeycomb, filled with loose and whirls of slender stone spiraling around each other in a way that made him feel dizzy. It was a strange mixture of organic and manufactured, as if the rock had been grown and nurtured rather than hammered and chiseled. The light he needed to see by was coming from the rock itself, radiating from every contorted limb. Even after so long in the darkness, it did not hurt his eyes. His courage had not told him who made this place, describing them only as one of the ones who came before, but Elias could not help wondering if they might have been Xenos. There was a time when the very idea of such creatures would have filled him with terror, but since bathing in the pool, he struggled to fear anything. He felt invincible. "Who were they?" he whispered. "They were men, such as you." Even now, Elias felt a rush of excitement when the voice spoke to him. The words created a physical reaction in him, causing his pulse to quicken and his thoughts to clear. It was a kind of love, he realized. "Men?" he said, looking around the strange shapes. "But this looks nothing like any architecture I've ever seen." These people had no association with the Imperium or your god Emperor. "You have been lied to, Elias. Cruelties have been inflicted on your flesh, but even worse than that, your leaders have robbed you of your own past. Humankind crossed the stars long before the birth of the tyrant who sits rotting on the Terran throne. There was a time when people still had hope and freedom. Can you imagine that, Elias? Once long ago, your ancestors were not bound by superstition or fear. If they had courage and conviction, they could strike out into the stars and make a life for themselves. When humans first came to the Novalis, they lived like kings. They paid no tithes and they worshipped no gods. They chose their own way and they lived long, fulfilling lives." It would not have occurred to Elias to doubt the voice. It was his voice, after all, talking to him with wisdom he would acquire in the future. "Then what happened?" he asked. "They lived in peace for a long time, and they created wonders. I wish you could have seen them. They developed medicine so powerful they could alter the bodies of their unborn children, protecting them against illness and age so that they lived long lives, free of disease or infirmity. And they developed machines that could build anything they desired, machines that could think and learn. There was no need for work and toil. Men like you lived in luxury, with mechanical devices tending to their every need. I don't mean those grotesque mind-wiped abominations you call servitors. I mean sentient wanderers able to do everything that their human masters desired. Everything that makes your life miserable was consigned to the past. Work, illness, oppression. The people who built these rooms knew nothing of such things. But there is evil in the galaxy, Elias. Most people are like you. Given the chance, they will try to do good. Given safety and dignity, people will usually try to give others the same. Kindness begets kindness. But there are a few exceptions. Those souls who crave power above all else. When the god emperor rose to power, he was drunk in ambition. He had conquered an entire world, but even that was not enough for him. He wanted more. Conquest was all he had ever known. He wanted to rule the entire galaxy. But when he looked at the stars, he saw people that had no need of him. Novalis was not the only place where people were happy. All across the galaxy, humanity had used science and technology to thrive, and the Emperor knew that if people were content, if they were free of hardship, they would be content to exist without him. Content to exist without an emperor or a god. For the first time, Elias could remember the voice sounded bitter. So the Emperor denounced science. His courage continued. He called it heresy. He denounced the very thing that had elevated your species from suffering. Then he massed his armies and sallied forth into the stars at the head of a great armada. And wherever he reached worlds like Novalis, where people had used science and technology to improve their lives, he waged war, dismantling wonders that could never be remade. Wonders he did not even understand. He crippled humanity, he robbed it of hope, and then, When your ancestors were at their lowest ebb, lost and afraid in the darkness, unable to defend themselves from the galaxy, the Emperor welcomed them into his fold. He offered them protection, but only, you understand, as his slaves. He brought humanity to its knees, and now, because they are denied the truth, because they do not know their own tragic past, they pray to him. They worship the source of their ruin.